I thank you for joining me. My name is Bishop Dr. Derek A. Reeves, and this is Integrated Theology. Today, what we're going to do is deal with the third and final supplemental lecture to Lecture 11. Let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about what is divine thinking. And I really want to tie in just a smidgen of what we would call physics that deals with light energy and so forth. And I want to address it from this perspective. When we talk about the term divine, we're talking about, in one way, the Latin term that deals with divinitus. Divinitus then deals with that which is the nature of light. And so to speak of a divine mind, we're talking about, from the Latin standpoint, Divinitus Mens. The mens, then, is literally the noun, the mind, the incorporate meaning of what a mind is. And so we're talking about, then, a being that is sentient, that has intellect, emotion, volition, and in God's case, he has perfect sentience. He has total sentience, which means that his senses and his capacity to know are linked with his thoughts. God thinks, and he has ever thought the thought of thought. Therefore, through the thoughts of God, he is aware of all things. He has understanding of all things. When we speak of the mind of God, we speak then of, again, the mensiological fortitude of his being. He is a living mind, a spirit, a living spiritual mind or entity. Mankind became a living soul encased within a form. The form of God, we have no way of knowing what this form is. Jesus was in that form. He was with God and thought it not robbery to be equal with God. So many have asserted that the form of God is the physical manifestation of Christ, but literally it is the inward manifestation of the divine Godhead. So when we speak of divine, we talk about divinitas, we talk about of the light. It's very important that we understand when minds operate through brains in the human sense. And I must take this approach to give you some type of understanding how the mens works in sentient beings. And so in the mind of man, there are two different types of nervous systems that enables man to, first of all, receive information, and secondarily, to loose information or directives from the mind through the brain, through one of the aspects of the nervous system to operate and to move the hands. All of the movement of the body that takes place from the consciousness of the body, which is voluntary operations, is done through the releasing of directive information. I must move my mouth, give breath, move my teeth and my tongues to produce sound. I must will through the thoughts of my mind and take it through the peripheral nervous system, which is connected to the spinal cord and branches out throughout the body. And I must utilize that system to be able to move my hands. When we talk about the influx of information, I must utilize the senses that are networked within my physiological or the soma. I must utilize all of those senses that are integrated. The integration then allows for the brain to pick up the receptors or those impulses that are from the senses: sight, smell, touch, sound, and feeling. So all of those things, taste, my body then relays through the receptacle nerves that relate to the brain, and the brain and the mind translate it into usable information. And so as we are thinking within the brain and the mind working together, there are brief flares of energy. What we call synapses and the neurons. The neurons receive the information, and a spark of energy flows from one neuron to another, and through the spaces called synapses, and then the information is spread. And as this sparks and spreads, these neurons become protective eventually over time through myelination, where they are covered, and they continue to relay information through the sparks of light, which are like tiny explosions, chemical and electrical. Now, our brain works in time, or the tandem or the sequence of time, based upon the sparking, the firing, and the firing spreads from one to another and continues to spread until it now makes sense, until it is worked out and possibly sent to the unconsciousness, and we now are conscious of what we're learning. But the mind of God, remember, he doesn't have a human brain. When we talk about divine thinking, specifically of God, we're talking about a mind that is totally illuminated with light. And the light and the thought connected to the light is omniscient light. It is light of omniety. It is infinite light that never flickers, never goes out, never runs down, never needs to be recharged. And so this divine light, it consistently contains all of the information that God knows. It doesn't need to spread anywhere because his mind is one. His logos is so synchronized. It is patternized after his omniscience. And so the logos, the mind of God, which was in the beginning and was with God, is God. God is the light. The light is God. The information is God. It is the state of God's mind. And the state of God's mind is information. Therefore, divine thought is always operating in knowing. Divine thought is always operating in the wisdom of utilizing knowledge as it should be used. This is all the time we have. I thank you. My name is, again, Bishop Dr. Derek A. Reeves, and this has been Integrative Theology. God bless you until the next time.